Gospel according to John, chapter 16, verses 12 through 15.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Jesus said, I have many things to say to you, but you cannot bear them now. When the Spirit of truth comes, he will guide you into all the truth, for he will not speak on his own, but will speak whatever he hears, and he will declare to you what is to come. He will glorify me, because he will take what is mine and declare it to you. All that the Father has is mine. For this reason I said, he will take what is mine and declare it to you. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, O Christ.
I'd like to take this opportunity to say thank you to all of you, to Pastor Beeman, and to your council. I have been among you a week, and I am finding it a great blessing to be able to be here with you and to get to know you. So I thank you for the honor of being your interim associate pastor. And as that new associate, the first thing I want you to know is that I like your mission statement. That mission statement, to make Christ known, is to me both clear and compelling. It's encouraging to me, as someone who has been called to be in your leadership, that to what you understand yourself to be called to do is simple and easy to grasp, even for a newcomer like me. Thinking about your mission statement this week, however, I have come to realize that your statement has a harder part to it, and that is the how Christ is being made known. The how, I think, is what makes living into your mission statement just a little bit more complicated than initially understanding it. Why do I say that? Well, because of what Jesus just told us in the gospel passage. Here's what he said. I wonder if you heard it too. He said, ultimately, the only one who's going to make Christ known is Christ himself. And Christ himself, my friends, post-Pentecost, is only present to us or to anyone else by the power of the Holy Spirit. What does that mean for us? What that means is that there will not be even one little smidgen of an ability to say, mission accomplished, here in this place, if we do not continue to intentionally seek the guidance that Jesus promised the Spirit of truth will supply as she leads us into the future that she has prepared for this church. And that makes the intentional opening of ourselves to the Spirit's leading absolutely critical for our future. Let us pray. Come, O come, Holy Spirit, to all of us here who by virtue of our baptism in the name of the Father and the Son and the Spirit belong to you. You are our sustainer, the source of our individual and collective callings, and the one who enables us to fulfill And so, gracious and living Spirit, you who function to bind us to Jesus, you who invite us into God's own Trinitarian life of mutuality, interdependence, and joy, blow your truth through this body gathered to seek your wisdom this day. Inspire us so that we may learn again, as we must every single morning, who you are, who we are in you, and thus given that sacred identity, what in the world it is that we are called to do. Amen. Well, the gospel reading that we read this morning is part of Jesus' farewell discourse. It's quite a long speech that he makes, 3+ chapters at the end of that gospel. Jesus' long and loving speech occurs after the Last Supper, when he's gathered with 11 of his disciples. The 12th is already en route to enact the betrayal that will lead to his crucifixion on the following day. Jesus had a whole lot to say to his followers then on that Thursday night, much of it things that they did not care to hear. He was talking about his death. But even as he spoke about his death, he also left them a nugget of hope. He left them an explanation of their sacred identity in the vine that included he and his Father. And he promised them that God would continue to be with them as they sought to follow the Father. He promised them that though he was returning to the Father, those who followed him would not lose God's presence when they lost him, because the Spirit of truth is coming to guide you into all truth. But to paraphrase Pilate's question of later in this gospel, what is this truth that Jesus speaks about so freely? This truth that Jesus says he will lead us into if we will just make room for the Spirit's leading. Well, to get at the answer to that question, it will help to remember that this passage is long, as I told you, and at the beginning of it, in John 14, Jesus associates himself with the truth again. Remember that one? He actually says, I am the truth, and the way, and the life, but that's for another day. So, in what way is Jesus the truth? He's the truth about what? Exactly. Well, is he the truth about the equation 2 + 2? The answer to that? No. Is he the viable plan for what needs to be done to stem our climate's warming? I think not. Instead, I would ask you to think about the possibility that Jesus is the truth about 3 very important things for those of us baptized into Christ. First, Jesus is the truth about who God is. That means that whatever the Spirit of truth, wherever the Spirit of truth is going to lead us at Christ Lutheran, it's not going to be toward a God that is other than the one that Jesus' life, death, and resurrection has already revealed to us that we have. Second, if Jesus is the invisible God who reveals who God is, he is also the image in which we are created. Think Genesis 1. So not only is Genesis the truth about who God is for Christians, he is also the truth about who we are created Jesus fully divine in human form. He's the truth of what it looks like when people unite themselves to God. The truth about what a human being unmarred by sin both is and does. Finally, Jesus is the truth about what we are to do. So he's the truth about God's identity, our identity, and the truth about our purpose in the world as children of God. But here's the catch. Though Christian identity has not changed in any of the 2,000 plus years that have passed since Christ's birth, the context, plural, in which Christians live and move and have our being have always been very diverse. And that's the case even in our city, much less our world, right? People have all kinds of different backgrounds. They respond to all kinds of different worship styles. They come from different cultures and different races. And what that means is to discern what Jesus would have us do in this place in which we find ourselves, we are in desperate need of his continuing counsel. And that counsel is going to come from the Show Me Spirit, as I have named her this morning. We need that guidance. So I put it in the title, Show Me. And show me comes from my understanding of where the Show Me state of Missouri got its nickname. Supposedly, the Show Me nickname comes from an 1899 speech by Missouri Congressman Willard Van Diver. Van Diver said this. He said, I come from a state that raises corn and cotton, cockleburs and Democrats. And frothy eloquence neither convinces me nor does it satisfy me. I'm from Missouri, so you got to show me. I think we're like that. Don't we all need God to show us what is meaningful, what is valuable, what is life-giving? We do. If we don't have experiences of those things, not just talk about them, but experience of them, we perish. And so we need not pretty words about God. We need the presence of the Holy Spirit. It's useless for us as a church to sit and talk about what God means for us if along the way we don't have experiences of the one in whom we are learning to trust day by day. This morning, Jesus promises that the Spirit of truth will come and lead us into the future. The Spirit will show us what is yet to come in this place. Pastor Beeman is here to point you to that Spirit, as am I. Our jobs are to equip you to tune your ear to wisdom and to submit your life to the Word with a capital W. For your own sake, yes, but also for the sake of the world. But this church is not Pastor Beeman's, even though he's newly the lead here. It's God's. And God is calling us these days, in this Christian context, to go out into the world and to make disciples. I want you to notice that the verb here is not sit in the pew and wait for new disciples to come to you. Go is the verb. So ours is not an easy call, but it is the call we say we have to make Christ known. And not just in here, out there, in J-Town and beyond. dying to make, so that God might show you more of himself. I am willing to plan and lead a prayer walk in which we gather to drive and walk in our neighborhood, to visit the places where love is already working in this neighborhood, and to consider where we may be being called to join love's work. You see, the Father and the Son and the Spirit, the Trinity that we worship here, lives a life of eternal perichoresis. And it is a fancy Greek word, but it's also beautiful. Peri means around. Choresis, as in choreography, means to dance. And so the three persons of the Holy Trinity dance in and around and through one another, exchanging hope and faith and love and joy forever. And you know what? That Holy Trinity invites us to join that life of mutual blessing and praise as we connect by the Spirit's love to the cosmic dance that is God's life, the making of the Word made flesh in the here, in the now, by the power of the Spirit. God is dedicated to revealing more and more of God's self to us if we will only let him. And letting him in this day and age, folks, means following him out of the comfort zone that are the walls of this church. That's because the Christian context of the last century is gone. What that means is that everyone with whom God would pull us into relationship is not going to necessarily walk through those doors. So these days, we have to learn to find them wherever they are, wherever the Spirit leads. And so as I begin my time with you, I pray that we might have the courage to follow. Not only for the sake of the ones that God will show us to serve, but also for our own sakes and for the sake of the world we live in, a world that is desperate for love, desperate for meaning and connection, desperate for that God that we have come to know in Jesus Christ. In the name of the Holy Trinity,